Hey Matrix Live, got a cool project for you today to talk about. I'm here with Asbjørn, and he's going to tell us about Cactus comments. Hello.
Yeah. Hi Ben. Yeah, I'm Asbjørn. I'm one half of the people who made Cactus comments. I wrote the web client.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and I can see you've got a cactus there too.
Yes.
Did you already have that, or have you got that specially for this?
My roommate had it, and I went by his room. I was like, oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, can I borrow that? Yeah.
That's perfect. I like that a lot. All right. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about yourself and Carl. So, you said that you are working on the front end. Who
Yes.
are you and Carl? How do you know each other? What's going on there?
So Carl and I are both studying at university in Copenhagen. We're actually at two different universities, but we did Cactus Comments together originally as a university project.
Right.
So we were reaching that part of our education where we had to do a bachelor's project, and we figured we might as well do something that's useful and something that we'd want to make and use.
Yeah.
So the bachelor's was like our excuse to make Cactus Comments.
That's super, because we get a lot of demand for an embeddable client. I think so. That's had you seen that demand, or had you just sort of like predicted that there would be a need for that?
We definitely seen a little bit of it. I think I saw somebody working on something like that for Google Summer of Code. I think that was embedding Element or something like that.
There was that. Yeah.
I think originally the first time we came up with the idea, I remember we were in there's like a hackerspace at my university, and Carl was looking at some blog post, and he pointed to the screen and was like, "Wait, why isn't this a matrix room?
Right.
It's HTTP, right? We should be able to do this." And then a couple months later we started the project. Yeah.
That's super, and I love that among high tech students, the thinking these days is, why don't we use Matrix? In the same way that the other technologies would have been in the past. All right, so in terms of normally I would ask you about kind of product or project thinking, but it sounds like your main attitude here was you needed something for university anyway, and really you just wanted something that would work in the real world. But you've gone beyond that. I think you've got it. It now has its own website, and you're sort of advertising this as an open source component.
I think it was always an open source project first, right? It was like we wanted to make something cool, and we agreed actually at the beginning of making the project that if we were going to make this a good project, right? If we get just barely passing grades at the bachelor's, but ended up with a cool open source project, we definitely want to we'd want to go that way.
Okay.
We ended up being really lucky, and we both got top marks on the bachelor's as well.
Great.
So that's a side bonus. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
The goal has always been to make it easy to use and useful for people. Yeah.
I love that. So what's have you graduated now, or is that coming this summer? Or
not quite. I'm missing one course, Theory of Sciences, which is mandatory. So I'm taking that this summer, and then moving on to my master's. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to do master straight away. I see. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for figuring out who we're going to hire next. So, all right.
Well, you're gonna have to wait a couple of years for me.
All right. So let's talk about the tech then. You said that you worked on the front end. And obviously it's a web-based product, so I'm guessing there's a lot of JavaScript involved here. Did you use the SDKs?
In a way. There's I think the actual implementation has like 5 lines of JavaScript. It's all written in Elm.
I see.
So to those not familiar, Elm is a functional language. It's a purely functional language with static typing. So it looks sort of like Haskell or OCaml or something like that. But it compiles to JavaScript, obviously. So yeah, we ship around a JS file in the end.
Interesting. And have you found support in the Elm community for this? It's a smaller community, so have you found it more difficult to get support or PRs brought in?
The Elm community is amazing. Anytime I've reached out with like, I'm trying to figure out a way how to do this, there's always like really friendly help to be gotten.
Awesome.
No co-contributors yet on the Elm side, apart from me and Carl, but.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you did the front end. Carl worked on the back end. Carl unfortunately couldn't join us today.
Unfortunately, no. Yeah.
But what was how did you interface those two? How did you talk to each other and make sure that you were talking the same language?
So the front end and the back end only communicate via Matrix, right? So there's no like separate protocol design like that.
So it's practically separate projects then that just happen to read the same room. Is that? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I think they're separate projects that work really, really well together. So I might mention what the application service is actually for, the backend. It's a small project. It does really two things. It creates rooms on demand, and then it manages moderation rights across all of the rooms that are comment sections. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you can absolutely use Cactus comments without the application service, but it's a much better user experience with. Yeah.
And how do I consume this as a component? When I put it on a web page, do I need to give it an argument of the URL, or will it read the current location where it's sitting? How does that work?
So the way that they sort of find out which room to go in is that they have a similar set of rules for constructing the room alias. You give it a couple arguments on the client side, which is like the moderation namespace and which default home server to use for users that haven't logged in yet.
Right.
And then comment section ID, it constructs like a room alias based on those strings. And then the application service has registered like the prefix of that room alias. So it knows what's going on, it can intercept the events and manage moderation stuff.
I mean, this sounds like the architecture that we really want to see in a project like this.
We were continually surprised and amazed working with Matrix that we were like, oh, let's really see what can the spec help us with here. And it was just like every day we were like, oh, Matrix can do this. Oh, that means we don't. Yeah, okay, that's cool. It makes everything much easier.
Yeah, that's great.
Like from the application service stuff to all the event types and yeah. So we managed to actually we have no persistence in the backend. It stores all of the data in just Matrix events. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the way to do it, right? You know, you don't need even or even all the moderation logic and so on is there.
It's all there.
Yeah, that's superb. All right, so have you seen any kind of uptake? Who's using it? By the way, I want to get this deployed on matrix.org. It's something
that would be so cool.
Yeah, it's something that we're really missing. We just need to make the time to make sure that we can integrate it properly. But yeah, where is it in use today?
So yeah, we were really pleased with how well the reception was. I feel like we just like whispered the name Cactus comments and like our webpage in two corners of the federated web, right? We posted it in This Week in Matrix, and then I posted it on Mastodon, and then within like a couple days, like somebody beat us to posting it on Hacker News,
right?
And we were on the front page there for about a day.
Nice. That's always a great feeling, isn't it? Yeah,
that was really neat. So far, I know of about 15 different websites that use it.
Great.
Yeah, so that's really nice. It's mostly like personal blogs and stuff, but we've seen some creative applications of it. There was one guy who was making, I forget his name, which is a shame. He was making like a roguelike game, and he was using this as like a feedback form, but then he was also bridging the room to his Discord room, so his existing community could like integrate with it.
Nice. So this brings in a whole new world, doesn't it? I mean, so Discuss had some interesting features, which I'm talking about the competition now. But for example, as a logged in user, you could, for example, see your conversations across multiple websites. Which, in a world where everybody was using the same platform, that could have worked really well. But can you, for example, do you see a time when I comment on a Cactus chat component? Can I then join that room with my normal Matrix account through say Element and see the history there? Is that a feature you'd expect to want to support?
Yeah, for sure. That's like I think one of the main redeeming features is that you can interact with the comment section rooms through Element or any other Matrix client. We're only using really standard events.
Right.
So like the interoperability aspect of it was a key thing. There was always the thing about like if I post a comment on Hacker News and then like usually an interesting conversation might ensue.
Yeah.
I have to go back to Hacker News to see that comment. In the Matrix ecosystem, I can easily like get notified from like Fluffy Chat or Element or whatever I'm using.
Yeah, super. So what are your thoughts about the future for this product?
There's a lot of stuff we want to do.
What's on the roadmap?
So coming up soon, the release we're putting out today is going to have just one small feature, the ability to disable embedded login. Some people would have said that they would just prefer there to be a Matrix 2 link.
Okay.
So that's coming out. Some more stuff that we're doing. We want to support more of the like sexy event types, right? So emoji reactions. I really want to do emoji reactions.
Right.
I'm noticing a lot of people are just writing Markdown in the text field. So we want to support Markdown, posting comments from the web client using Markdown.
Yeah.
And then sort of on the longer scale, there's some MSCs we're sort of keeping our eye on. One thing that I'm really excited for is peeking over federation.
Right. Yes.
Right now, the sort of the anonymous access, like the guest access, has to happen on the same server that the room is in. Peeking over federation would help a lot. And then spaces. I think, like any other Matrix enthusiast, I'm super excited for spaces.
Spaces is going to solve every problem that anybody's ever had with Matrix, I think.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Spaces is the holy grail. Especially, I've seen some people talking about like moderation features in Spaces.
Yeah. So cascading ownership and power levels there. Yeah, that can.
Yeah, and we already sort of have a hierarchy of rooms in Cactus comments. Like when you have a site namespace of all your comment section rooms, then there's a moderation room, which sort of where you can set power levels and manage moderators and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine even a simple grouping with Spaces where I want to see all the comments that I've left on this website, for example, on such and such a website. So if there's a news website, I just want to see chat in Cactus comments on that website. I mean, you could do that with a simple communities grouping, but with Spaces, you get it for free.
Yeah, for sure.
Fab. All right, we're really excited about this, and I'm thrilled to see that you're still so enthusiastic about something that started out as just as a university project, but has gone.
I'm only getting more excited every day. Yeah.
Asbjørn, thank you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
You can find our website. It's cactus.chat. It has documentation, links to the Matrix room, everything you probably need.
Perfect.
And if you run into problems, just reach out. We're all on Matrix, so come say hi.
That's great. Thank you. Oh, and thank you to Carl in his absence.
Yeah. Carl is an essential part of this. So, yeah.
Great. All right. Thanks again. Cactus comments. Asbjørn. Bye.
Have a good one.